Hi guys, the topic is memory system considerations. Memory system considerations. Here, the choice of RAM chip for a given application depends upon several factors such as cost, speed, power dissipation, and the size of the chip. We discussed this topic in EPROM, mean for the purpose of RAM chip uh, for a given application, mean depends upon several factors, means what is the cost and how much speed it gives and how much power it takes to consumption, and how the size of the chip depends upon these factors. We have to choose the RAM chip, right? Cost is less and speed high, low power consumption, and size of the chip is small, then we can give a priority. So before going to take a choice, we need to consider these following factors. Okay. Next, memory controller. The address is divided into two parts. Here memory address can be divided into two parts. First one, the higher order address bits, which selects a row in the cell array, are provided first and latched into the memory chip under control of RAS signal. Okay. Here the address part can be divided into two parts. Higher order bits means from left to right. The higher order bits of the address, which selects a row in the cell, row part array, are provided first and latched into the memory chip under the control of RAS signal. Then the lower order bits, the remaining bits, which select the column, are provided on the same address pins and latched using the CAS signal, row address signal and column address signal. A typical procedure issues all bits of an address at the same time. Here the required multiplexing of address bits is usually performed by a memory controller circuit, which is interprocessed between the processor and the dynamic memory. Right? Here use of memory control here is look like this. The use of memory controller. Here we have a processor and a memory. How the processor and the memory are connected together. Here we have address bus and a read and write signal and a request and a clock. In between processor and memory, we have a memory controller. Right? Here the bottom of the diagram is a data bus. It is a two-way bus which is possible to share the information from the memory to processor as well as processor to memory. Here from memory controller to memory, we have some connections. So row or column address
say, see, first one is either row or column address, and RAS and CAS, read or write signal, and CS, chip select, and clock. So these are connection establishments between memory controller and memory. See what the roles of those are. See, the controller accepts in between the processor and the memory. We have a memory controller. The memory controller accepts a complete address and read or write signal from the processor. So it first this is central memory controller accepts the address. See on the top of the diagram we have an address. So the memory controller accepts the complete address and read or write signal from the processor. Okay, here read or write signal under the control of request signal, which indicates that a memory access operation is needed. See, based upon the request signal, which indicates, it indicates that memory access operation is needed or not. Means based upon the request only we can need to access the memory operation. So it indicates that the memory access operation is needed or not, or required or not. The controller then forwards the row and column portions, row and column portions of the address to the memory and generates RAS and CAS signals. Okay. Here thus the controller provides row access or column access timing in addition to its address multiplexing function. It also sends a row or read or write and CS signals to the memory. The CS signal is usually active low, chip select. Data lines are connected directly between the processor and the memory. Note that the clock signal is needed in SDRAM. Here clock signal is directly connected to memory. Right, this is about memory system consideration, that is memory controller. Then we go to cache memory. The cache is a small and very fast memory. I told you so many times, cache memory is also called as fastest memory, and it is very small and it is very fast. It is placed between the processor and the main memory, and it is nearby the processor. So it gives you fast. So the cache is small and very fast memory interposed between the processor and the main memory. Its purpose is to make the main memory appear to the processor to be much faster than actually is. See, you see the diagram here. It is main memory. In between processor and main memory there is a cache memory. See, the effectiveness of this approach is based on the property of a computer program called locality of reference. Consider the arrangement. The use of a cache memory is like this. a main memory processor. In between these two we have a cache memory. In this cache memory we have to place the data or content which is frequently used by the processor or used by the CPU, right? Let us take some of the data which we use very frequently. Instead of taking the data every time from the main memory, we have to place that data into cache memory. So when we compare with accessing the data from main memory, a cache memory takes less time because it is very nearby the processor when we compare with the main memory. So size is less, but it is nearby processor, so it takes less time to access the data which is placed in the cache. So we have to place the content are very important content as well as the content which are frequently used by the processor is only placed at a cache memory. Okay, so a copy of the same is also in main memory. First, the processor required any data. First, it checks whether the data is present in the cache memory or not. If it is present in the cache memory, then immediately it takes or access the data from the cache memory and execute it. Otherwise, then only it goes to check into main memory. So it goes to main memory and a copy of data is also placed at a cache memory. So it is a very fastest memory. See here, when the processor issues a read request, the contents of a block of memory words containing the location specified are transferred to the into the cache. Okay, suppose if you can request when the processor issues a read request, means a processor needs anything or any content from the main memory, it sends a contents of block memory words containing a location specified or transferred to cache. Means first it checks whether the content requested by the processor is available in cache or not. Subsequently, when the program references any of the location in this block, the desired contents are read directly from the cache. That's what I am saying. First it checks whether the content requested by the processor is available in cache or not. If it is available in cache, it reads directly from the cache memory. Usually the cache memory can store a reasonable number of blocks at any given time, but this number is small compared to the total number of blocks in the main memory. Already I told you main memory is huge when we compare with the cache. Cache memory is very small memory and we have to place the contents of very important as well as regular usage content, only we can place it in cache memory. The correspondence between the main memory blocks and those in the cache is specified by mapping function. Here we have a hit ratio or miss and hit. So miss and hit means the content which is requested by the processor is available in cache, then it is called hit, otherwise it is called miss. It's enough. Means you want to search something, if the searching item is available in cache memory, then we call it as hit. If the searching item is not available in the main memory, then it is called miss. The performance of cache memory is measured in terms of a quantity called hit ratio, right? The performance of catch memory is measured. Means how can we measure the performance of catch memory? Means by using hit ratio, right? Based upon the hit ratio we can measure the performance of catch memory. When the CPU refers a memory and finds the word in catch, it is said to be produce a hit. Means if anything or a word or a content, the content which is requested by the CPU or a processor, that content is available in the cache memory, then it is called or it is said to be hit. If the word is not found in the cache, it is in the main memory, then it counts as a miss. Okay, hope you understand my point. If your requested word or searching word is available in the cache memory, nearby the CPU, then we call it as a hit. Otherwise, that requested word is not available in the cache memory, that is available in the main memory, then we call it as miss. So if the hit ratio is high, then the performance of the cache memory is also high. So the performance of the cache memory is purely depends upon the hit ratio. Here the ratio of the number of hits to the total CPU references to memory is called hit ratio. Hit ratio is equal hit by hit plus miss. So if the hit ratio is increased, then the performance of the cache memory is also good, or you can say it is fine. Otherwise you can say the performance is low. Okay, next, mapping functions. Mapping functions. There are several possible methods for determining where memory blocks are placed in the cache. Okay, there are several possible mapping functions, possible methods for determining where memory blocks are placed in the cache. Consider a cache consisting of 128 blocks of 16 words each for a total of 2048, that is 2k to 410 words, and assume that the main memory is addressable by a 16-bit address. The main memory has 64k words, which we will view as a 4k blocks of 16 words each. Okay, first one is direct mapping. Direct mapping. The simplest way to determine cache locations in which to store memory blocks is direct mapping technique. So here it is simply how can you mapping the placing, or you can also call it as placing the cache words in cache memory, words in cache memory. Direct mapping technique. This is the very simplest technique to place the memory blocks in cache memory. In this technique, block J of the main memory maps onto block J modulo 128 of the cache is like this. See here, this is main memory and this is cache memory. We have a block 1, block 2, block 3, like that. See here 2 to the power of k is equal to 2 into 2 indexing onto k words. Word index tag, word number of bits are required to identify a particular word with log 2. Index number of bits identified the block memory when a memory word log 2. See, this is a direct mapping, means we can directly place the required content from main memory to cache memory, right? That is a direct mapping. Here, thus, whenever one of the main memory blocks, that is 0, 128, 256, is loaded into the cache, it is stored in the cache block 0. Blocks 1, 129, 257. See, one is added to the previous one, are stored in cache block 1 and so on. The memory address can be divided into three fields. Lower order 4 bits select one of 16 words in a block. When a new block enters in the cache, the 7-bit cache block field determines the cache position in which this block must be stored. The higher order 5 bits of the memory address of the block are stored in 5 tag bits associated with the location of the cache. This tag bits identify which of the 32-bit memory blocks mapped into this cache position is currently resident in the cache. Okay. And execution proceeds. The 7-bit cache block field of each address generated by the processor points to a particular block location in the cache. The higher order 5 bits of the address are compared with the tag bits associated with that each location. If they match, then the desired word is in the block of the cache. If there is no match, then the block containing the required words must first be read from the main memory and loaded into the cache.